Oh, you walk into a room, and suddenly, it goes quiet, not because of anything you said, but because of how you are now. Your presence doesn't carry the same warmth it used to. People glance at you, then look away, polite smiles. Quick conversations, and then they're gone. At first, you tell yourself it's nothing, just the way people are these days, but deep down, something feels off. It's subtle. It's quiet, but it stings. And here's the truth nobody says out loud. As we age, certain habits creep in, habits we don't notice, habits that push people away, not because we're bad or unkind, but because no one ever told us these were happening. Today, we're going to change that. This isn't a lecture. It's a wake-up call, because the last thing any of us want is to grow old and become unwelcome in silence. So if you've ever felt like the energy in the room drops when you walk in, or people have started avoiding long chats with you, stay right here. We're talking about 12 habits, habits that grow stronger as we grow older, and they don't just affect how others see us, they affect how we feel about ourselves. Let's start with the first one. It's quiet. It's deadly, and almost no one realizes they're doing it. Talking too much about the past. Now wait, before you roll your eyes, hear this. Our memories are beautiful. They're golden, even, but when every conversation turns into, back in my day, or, when I was your age, people, especially younger ones, start to tune out, not because they don't care, but because they feel unheard. See, what often starts as sharing, can turn into dominating. And that makes people uncomfortable. You might not even notice you're doing it, but suddenly, someone's glancing at their phone, someone else is nodding, but not really listening, and you walk away feeling dismissed. Again, instead, try this. Share your story, yes, but ask them about their story, too. Balance the conversation, make it a dance, not a monologue. It sounds small, but it changes everything. Now, here's another one. It creeps in after retirement, after the kids leave, after the routine shifts and the days get quieter. The habit of complaining about everything. It starts with the news, then the weather, then how expensive groceries are, then how rude people are nowadays, and slowly, without meaning to, negativity becomes your rhythm. The people around you start to feel it, not because you're wrong, but because you've become heavy to be around. Have you ever noticed how some people feel like sunshine, and others feel like a thundercloud? Neither one says much differently, but the energy is completely different. People gravitate toward light, even in dark times, especially in dark times. So if you've fallen into the habit of complaining, ask yourself, what joy did I express today? What beauty did I point out? Because joy is magnetic, and when you bring it into a room, people stay. Now, this next one is uncomfortable, because it hides behind something good, something proud, something we've earned. The habit of giving too much advice, without being asked. You mean well. Of course you do. You've lived through wars, lost people you loved, built a life from nothing. You know things, but unsolicited advice, even when wise, can feel like judgment. Especially to younger folks trying to figure out their way. They hear, "You're doing it wrong," even if that's not what you meant, and suddenly, instead of feeling supported, they feel criticized. Worse, they stop sharing things with you altogether. It's not fair. But it happens. So how do you fix this? Try asking, "Do you want my thoughts on that?" Let them choose, respect their space, and when they say yes, then speak your wisdom. It'll land so much deeper. There's power in patience, and people feel the difference between a helper and a lecturer. Now let's pause for a moment, take a breath, because if any of this is hitting home, you're not alone. These habits don't mean you're a bad person, they just mean you've lived long enough to develop rhythms that might need adjusting. And here's the beautiful part, you can adjust them. In fact, you're one of the few people who can, because you've already survived the hardest chapters. Now it's about refining the way you connect so people feel lucky to be around you, not uncomfortable, not distant, but grateful. Let's keep going, because the next one is one of the most damaging of all, and most people have no clue it's driving others away. Now, let's dive into one of the biggest things that affects relationships as we age. This one is subtle, yet it eats away at the bonds you've worked so hard to build. The habit of making everything about your health. As we get older, our bodies change. That's just the reality. That we get aches, that we get pains, that we face things that make us feel less than we used to, and there's nothing wrong with that. But here's the thing. When every conversation revolves around how you're feeling, what's wrong with your back today, or how you slept, or didn't sleep, it can make people feel like you're the center of the world, but not in the good way. That it's draining, that it's constant, and after a while, it feels like there's no room left for anyone else. That it's not that your health isn't important. It is, but if that's your only topic of conversation, the people around you start to wonder if you're even aware of their lives anymore, their struggles, their joys. So, when you're with loved ones, try this: share your health, yes, but don't make it the only story you have. Ask them about their day, their dreams, their challenges. People don't just want to hear about your body, they want to connect with your heart. Now, this next habit, it's one we might not even notice, but it can silently break relationships apart. The habit of clinging to outdated views. I get it. You've lived through an entire era of history. You've seen the world change in ways younger people can only imagine, and sometimes, those changes are hard to swallow. You might think, back in my day, things were better. But here's the problem. When we cling too tightly to the past, we distance ourselves from the present, and the present is where people are living right now. When you constantly talk about the good old days, it can make people feel like they don't matter, like their world doesn't matter, like you're stuck in a time that's gone. People need to feel seen for who they are today, not just who they were in your memory. You don't have to agree with everything, but embracing change, accepting the way things are now, helps you stay connected. It helps you feel alive in the present moment. 2. The world is different today, and the more you adapt to it, the more you'll find yourself truly connecting with others. Now, this next one is a hard truth, but it's one that can transform your relationships if you're willing to confront it. The habit of withdrawing emotionally. As we age, it's easy to retreat. The world gets quieter. The people you loved are fewer, and sometimes, it feels safer to just close off. You stop sharing, you stop laughing, you stop reaching out, and the silence becomes the space where you live. But let me tell you this, that silence, it can be deafening. The people who care about you. The ones who want to feel your presence. When you shut yourself off, you don't just miss out on life, you miss out on the connections that make life worth living. You close the door to love, but here's the beautiful thing. You can open that door again. It's never too late. Start by letting someone in. Let them see your smile, let them hear your laugh, let them know you care. It's in the small things, the touch, the words, the shared moments, that you rebuild the bridge back to them. Let's shift gears now and talk about something that many people don't realize can be a serious problem as they age: the habit of becoming invisible. Have you ever felt like you're just fading into the background, like people don't notice you anymore? Like you're part of the furniture, there, but not truly seen. As we get older, the world tends to turn its attention away from us. We stop being the center of attention. We stop being the ones people turn to for energy and excitement. But the danger comes when we accept that, when we stop trying to stay present, when we don't make an effort to keep showing up, mentally, emotionally, socially. Here's the truth, you are not invisible, not unless you choose to be, and if you're feeling unseen, it's time to make yourself visible again. Speak up, join the conversation, share your thoughts and feelings, not just with those closest to you, but with everyone you meet, because, when you are seen, people will start gravitating toward you again. They'll notice your presence, and they'll be glad they did. There's a certain habit that creeps in quietly with age. You might not even realize you're doing it, but it makes people feel small, dismissed, like their thoughts don't matter. It's the habit of talking down to younger people. Now, I know, you've seen more, lived more, struggled more. You've gathered wisdom the hard way, and it comes from a good place when you want to guide others, especially your kids or grandkids. But if that guidance starts sounding like judgment, or if every conversation turns into a lecture, people start pulling away. Nobody likes feeling like they're constantly being corrected. Nobody wants to feel like their choices are being questioned. Sometimes, younger folks don't want answers, they just want to be heard. Sometimes, the best thing you can do isn't to advise, it's to listen. You don't lose your value by saying less, you amplify it. When someone feels heard, they naturally come to you for wisdom. But when they feel talked at, not with, they walk away feeling small. Try this the next time you're with someone younger. Ask more than you tell. Instead of saying, "You shouldn't do that," try, "What made you choose that path?" It opens a door that invites conversation, and it shows respect. The next habit, it's one that doesn't just affect how people see you, it affects how you see yourself. It's the habit of giving up on appearance. Now wait, before you think I'm talking about beauty or vanity, let me be clear. This is about dignity. Self-respect, presence. When you stop caring about how you look, you send a message to the world, and to yourself. A message that says, I don't matter anymore. But you do matter, and how you carry yourself tells the world you know it. You don't need expensive clothes or flashy shoes, you just need to show that you're still here, still proud, still alive in your body. Comb your hair, iron that shirt, spritz on a scent that makes you smile, because when you look in the mirror and like what you see, you walk differently, you speak differently. And people respond to that energy. It's not about impressing others, it's about honoring yourself. Now, let's talk about one of the most painful habits of all, but it's one that often hides behind good intentions, the habit of sacrificing. So many elders fall into this trap. You give and give, your time, your money, your energy. You say yes when you're tired, you offer help even when your body says no, because that's what love does, right? But here's the truth, when you give too much of yourself, you start to vanish, piece by piece. Until one day, you wake up exhausted, lonely, and wondering if anyone even notices. You deserve boundaries, you deserve rest, you deserve to take care of you. And here's the surprising part. When you stop overgiving, the people around you start to respect you more, not less. You're not here to be a martyr. You're here to live, and living means knowing when to say yes, and when to say, not this time. Let others stand on their own, let them grow. You've done enough hand-holding. Now it's time to hold yourself with the same tenderness. And finally, we reach one of the quietest, most misunderstood habits in old age, the habit of expecting others to chase you. You might think, if they cared, they'd call. If they wanted to see me, they'd visit. But what if they're thinking the exact same thing? What if they're waiting for you to reach out, to show that you still care, to say, hey, I was thinking about you today? Don't let pride turn into loneliness. Don't wait for people to knock on your door, knock on theirs. Send the text, make the call. Be the one who reaches out first, because love isn't always about waiting. Sometimes, it's about leading, and the moment you stop waiting, you start building, healing, connecting. You don't have to be forgotten, but you do have to stay visible. Vocal. Alive. So, let's take a breath together. Point 12 Habits. Point 12 Quiet little ways we unintentionally push others away, or slowly disconnect from life. And you know what? It's okay. You're human, but now you're aware, and awareness is power. It means you get to choose differently, you get to speak with warmth instead of control, you get to listen more and correct less, you get to dress with pride, move with purpose, and reach out with love. Growing older doesn't mean fading away. It means becoming more you than ever, not invisible, not forgotten, but vibrant, respected, and deeply loved. You have so much left to give, and you deserve to receive just as much in return. So if any of these habits struck a nerve today, good, that means your spirit is still alive and ready to grow. Tell me in the comments, which one of these habits do you see around you, or maybe in yourself? There's no shame here, only honesty, and the courage to change. If this video stirred something in you, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, because we're just getting started with these powerful, life-changing conversations. Here's to living your fullest, richest life. At any age, you are not fading. You're rising, and the best is still to come.